Now, while watching televised poker is an excellent way to learn how to play the game, you really need to be careful about what it is you're learning. The key point to remember is that you're watching an edited poker show. You don't get to see all the hands, and sometimes that can give you a skewed version of what is really happening. For example, you may have seen me make a bluff in a certain situation that looked foolish since my opponent called. What you might not see, however, is how the silly bluff may pay off later. There is always more to the story than what you see on television. While ESPN's coverage is good, the end product is a 1-hour highlight show of an 8 or 9 hour final table. It would be impossible to tell the whole story in that amount of time. So what you're often left seeing are confrontations like ace-king against a pair of jacks. You at home might be wondering, how do these guys get so many good hands? Well, they don't, but what you are seeing are some of the most exciting hands from a 9-hour final. Now, the World Poker Tour is a little closer to reality, but there are other inherent problems with learning from that show as well. 2 hours are dedicated to the WPT shows, and the final tables generally last between 4 to 5 hours. So, while you are seeing a much higher percentage of hands on this show, the play is jaded by the fact that the blinds escalate so quickly that the element of skill is reduced. With blinds getting so high so quickly, you'll start seeing players going all in with like King 5 offsuit and other players calling with hands like King 10. That's not real poker, and if you play that way in a normal tournament setting, you'll be playing far too recklessly and aggressively. In order to win one of the WPT finals, you really need to play aggressively at the late stages. However, that approach isn't quite the best way to get to the final table. The one show on television that is without a doubt the best teaching tool is the Game Show Network's High Stakes Poker, which puts mostly pros and a few amateurs in a real cash game setting. The blinds don't escalate, and the goal isn't necessarily to get all the money. The players are playing for real cash put up by themselves. For example, I actually put down $1 million in cash to play in that game in the first season. The money came out of my pocket. Sure, I was paid, $1,250 an hour to be on that show, but this is a game where if the cards don't go your way, you could easily lose $1 million. The High Stakes Poker Show takes 24 hours of footage and breaks it down into a 13-week series. The play is very sophisticated and as close to watching live poker as you're ever going to get. Yet, even with this show, I would add the following caution at the bottom of the screen. Viewer discretion is advised. Do not try these plays at home. As I said, the play is extremely sophisticated sometimes, so copying these plays and trying them on your buddies in your Friday night game might not work as well. Some of these plays can be deadly in the right hands, but in the wrong hands, they can ruin an inexperienced player. The key is to fully understand what you're watching and take everything in with a grain of salt. It's important to understand that no, players on ESPN's World Series of Poker don't get better cards than those in the World Poker Tour. Also, that going all in with Jack 6 isn't such a great idea, even though you may have seen Gus Hansen try it on the World Poker Tour. By all means, learn from some of the professionals you see on TV, but understand the context in which those decisions are made.